So we're talking about adjectives. So here is your adjective chart. Luke, if I have to say it again, it'll be points. You might. So check if you do. So we're looking at an adjective chart right now, and we're going to talk about adjectives today. So I want you to look at the chart. It's a lot like your declension chart in that it has endings, and it's going to tell us what endings we need when we're using adjectives. So just like nouns, we're going to treat adjectives the same exact way, in the sense that we're going to look up the adjective. It's going to tell us the base and the endings, or the stem and the endings, and we'll use this chart. You guys can you tell what the stems are in these versus the endings in your adjective chart?
Yes.
Can everyone see how the endings are darker or in bold font?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you can see down the columns, it shows us the gender, and then there's cases. So what are adjectives in just regular grammar? What do adjectives do, Cameron?
They describe something.
They describe what?
A noun.
They describe a noun or a pronoun, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to match up with nouns. And nouns have certain jobs, right? Just like our cases. So we're going to choose the same case for the adjective that we choose for the noun. Does everyone understand that? So if we're describing a noun that's an object of the preposition, we're going to use the what?
The what? Object of the preposition?
Right.
Ablative.
Ablative or accusative, depending on what our book tells us. If we're describing the subject of a sentence, Luke, what case is the subject?
I don't know.
Phone a friend.
Anybody who wants to.
Just pick one.
Me.
Nominative.
Right, so remember nominative, subject, genitive, possessive. Do you remember that song? Okay.
Not really, but.
Okay, so Luke, write it down. You need to know your cases because you need to know what they are in English and Latin. That's a big part of English and Latin. So write yourself a note. Review your noun cases because you need to know what the nominative and the genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative, what they all map to in English grammar. Okay, so that was one of the first week. There's a song posted. You can listen to it. Okay, so we're going to practice with this, but does everyone look at the chart and kind of understand how we're going to do this? So if we're describing a masculine noun, like a soldier, right, we're going to use the masculine column. Does everyone kind of understand that? Now, there's first and declension adjectives and there's third declension adjectives. These declensions do not match noun declensions. So what did I just say, Luke?
That they do not match.
They don't match noun declensions. So if you're describing a first declension noun, it does not mean that it's a first declension adjective. Now, you may be wondering, so how do we know what declension the adjectives are in? Okay?
There's only 3 declensions here.
There's only 3 declensions. So let me just show you how we're going to know. If you look on page 73 of your book, there's a list of vocabulary. Does everyone see that list of vocabulary?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those are all adjectives. It gives you the nominative across the masculine, the feminine, and the neuter. So if the endings for those 3 things that the dictionary gives you are us, and then they are first and second declension adjectives. So look at your first and second declension chart on your adjectives and see how across the nominative it says us, Does everyone see that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, what are the endings going to be if it's a third declension adjective? Cameron. Yeah, is, e, or a. So let's see if we can find some in your book. So everyone turn to, let's see. Everyone turn to page 82 in your purple book. Do you see that list of adjectives?
Yeah, it's only one S. Not
Yeah, it doesn't give both eases, but it gives the ease e. So all you have to know for adjective declensions is you look at the endings and then you look at your chart. They're either going to fall on the first and second or the third based on the endings. Super simple. Okay, Peyton.
So we look at that. We look at the E after the comma. We look at the
Well, you're
and
looking
then
at
after
the
comma.
right. So they're either going to be the ums or the is, and that's going to tell you which declension they are for adjectives.
So we're always looking after the comma to try and.
Well, you can kind of look before the comma too, because you can see the ending is east right there. It's not bolded, so you can't quite tell, but you could. But because the ending is bolded in your chart, you'll know that in gravis, the is is the ending and the stem is just the grav.
Mm-hmm.
Does everyone understand that? So if you go back to page 73 and you're looking at Magnus or altus the us is the ending and the stem is just what becomes before the us. Does everyone understand that for finding the stem for the adjectives?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So now I want you to get out your blue rules, and we're going to copy down a couple new rules that are found on pages 73, 74, and 77.